Sometimes it's not enough to find an old game on the vastness of the internet to play it. Sometimes you need to prove you are worthy. Because the old games are picky, you see. Your fancy modern computer won't do. They require the comfort of old systems they were made for. So, traveling on my favorite website of recent months, oldgames.ru, I found some more old Russian point and click quests with folklore themes. Randomly, I chose a game called The Diamond Bird to play and to tell you, my English speaking fellow old game lovers, about. But it wasn't easy to run it. The website told me to use a special build of the DOSBox emulator and Windows 3.11, but I didn't notice that I could download it from the very same site and made my own research to make my own build. I did it successfully, but a pretty big deal was left out by me. I installed an English only version of Windows 3.11 and the game is in Russian, so the installer showed me some gibberish instead of the Cyrillic text. Then I finally found out that there were ready-made emulators on oldgames.ru. I downloaded DOSBox Windows 3.11 from there, and the game didn't run. I downloaded DOSBox Windows 95 there, and the game didn't run. Finally, I downloaded Windows 98, and the game did run. But before going straight into this wonderful point and click quest, let me tell you some of its history. The Diamond Bird was released in year 1997. It was made by Sevur Arts, located in Perm. Apparently, the Diamond Bird was their only creation. But what's interesting is that a real professional folklorist and local historian from Perm University, Konstantin Shumov, was responsible for the script. I even found an entry in a game magazine called Magazin Игрушек, issue 9, year 1996. This entry was written a year prior the release and describes a better version of the game. It's written that the characters were not yet voiced. Spoiler, they won't be voiced in the released version either. It's also written that the authors planned to complement the game with Ural musical folklore recordings. But I didn't find anything like this in the release version. The author of the article believes that the creators of the game pursued an educational goal, which maybe is true. Often you can right click on the items and get a small video showing their purpose, and also the article names the amount of text as the main problem of the game, and I can't but agree with it. There are a lot of text. It's very long, it's not voiced, and it's full of strange word order, proverbs, and rhymes. That's why I won't translate it here for you entirely. Even though English was my major in the university, I am not a translator, and also it would be very tedious for you if I just put the whole text in the video. So I decided just to briefly retell you whenever a text appears on the screen. And here I won't explain much of the real life lore as I did in my previous video about another old point and click quest called Arcona, because the Diamond Bird isn't about some very real glorious past. It's about fairy tales. So let's finally start.
Ох, заинька, по сенечкам беги, 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 ой, серенький по новеньким бегом, 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 ой, некуда заиньке выскочить, ой, некуда серому выпрыгнуть, ой, трое ворот на заперти стоят, у каждых ворот по-сторожу стоят, ой, мамонька на берегу шла, золотые ключи с собою несла, заинька, отворяй ворота, серенько, отворяй широкие, уж ты дудочка, дуй, 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 раздувашечка, давай, 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 как надеешься, гуляй, 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 не гляди, моя милая, на людей, чего люди на базаре говорят, калинка, малинка моя, в саду ягода смородинка, полюбил такую молоденькую, молоденькую, батеньку, чернобровую, черногладенькую, целовал я молоду на холоду, да теперь сейчас забыть я не могу.
Once upon a time, there was a kingdom where ruled a family with the tradition of naming their sons Ioan. For a long time, there was peace in the realm. But the time went by, and people started to worry because the rulers haven't accomplished any feats for 3 generations. Prince Jan was raised during this time. He dreamt of glorious deeds, but life in the palace was calm and tedious. One morning, a messenger ran into his room and asked him to go to the throne room to his parents. The mother told Ioan that she was very sad and she felt that the death was near. She asks to bring her something that she can't describe. She also tells Ioan about a magic mirror which can transform one thing into another on similarity. The father says that an ancient sword will help Ioan on his journey, but it's in the labyrinth which was built by the ancestors, and something in the throne room will help to open it. So, Ioan, our main character, must save his mother from depression by bringing her something. It's actually a very popular plot in the Russian fairy tales. Go I know not whither and fetch I know not what. The interface is simple. At the bottom of the screen we have an inventory and the name of the thing we select. At the top of the screen there's the name of the game, save and load buttons, and if you save and load in the middle of solving a puzzle, your progress will be lost and the location will be untouched. Exit button and a minimize button. Isn't it suspicious that the developers made a special button which minimizes the game? I'll tell you why they did it. There's a file in the game folder called Not Read. It's an official guide for the game written by some storyteller who is kinda passive aggressive and sometimes condescending. And even though true gamers claim that it's a shame to look in the guide while playing point and click quests, I don't give a damn. If the developers themselves left a feature which allows you to look in the guide they themselves wrote, why shouldn't I use it? Besides, it didn't help me much with some awful pixel hunting later in the game, later about that. And also, there is a dagger, which is our health bar. That's rather unusual. Sure, in most of the older point and click quests, you could die in many awful ways, but I've never seen a health bar. Yeah, we will die here. We will die a lot. The game is completely linear. We can't even leave the location until we solve everything that must be solved. There are only 14 screens to go through. Here, in the throne room, we find the magic mirror the mother told us about. It can transform things into other things. For example, it turns the thrones into the blocks. And what will happen if I. Oh, this is going to happen often. There are 3 buckets with the living water, and the ones who have seen my video about Arcona already know what living water is. By the way, it's very deep that the thrones turn into blocks and we die trying to touch them. The blocks are the warning to the main hero not to claim his parents' place before his time. The only living thing we can interact with here is a parrot. And I hate this bird so much you can't even imagine. It asks to break the window, and if we do so, it will fly away, and we won't be able to leave the room. And the game will tell you nothing about it. It will tell you nothing why you can't leave. The door is opened, but nothing happens. At first, I thought that I didn't find everything I need, or something like that, but then I looked in the guide, and that's what I found there. It said that the parrot is a liar, and if we are stupid enough to listen to it, then we have to start the game all over again. Why? Because the developers felt like it or some shit. Nothing within the game points at parrot's untrustworthiness. By the way, there's one more file in the game folder called README, and there it said, the more familiar the player is with the Russian fairy tales, the easier it is to play. And do you know how many Russian folk fairy tales have a parrot in them? Zero! Anyway, here's what we must do. To find the magic mirror, we have to deactivate the bear first. It's done by pressing 2 panels with bears depicted on them. Underneath its head is the mirror. It transforms the Skomarov's cane into a staff. A Scamarog was a medieval harlequin or something like that. At the top of the thrones, we find a sphere and a cross which combine into a globus cruciger. Behind the throne, we find a ring. A part of a chandelier transforms into a dagger. The ring is a key to the chest. Inside there is a scepter, a flask, and a flint. The rivets on the chest turn into coins. There's also a rake, and the rakes will be found on every single location. It's a joke from the developers because every time we touch the rake, the character will take damage. There's a proverb in Russian to step on one and the same rakes twice, meaning to make the same mistake again and again. Now we can leave the throne room. And that very moment, the parrot breaks the window by itself and flies away anyway. The father appears and says to use the chronicles we picked up earlier as a hint. On the next several screens, we must enter the right doors. To do it, we indeed use the chronicle. The puzzle is very simple. We just must enter the doors which have symbols on them that are mentioned in the chronicle. Thus, we come to a dark room. And I forgot to mention that a female voice commenting on our every action haunts us throughout the whole game. And here I just pixel hunted for a bit, and she just couldn't shut up.
Сквозь волшебное стекло превратится все. Загорись, царь огонь, как смеешь здесь костры палить?
It turned out I had to spy this thing. This thing is called Svetец. It was a special rag for a Lucina, and Lucina being a very small, thin piece of wood burnt to light a room. And here we need to put a huge stuff into it. And also, one more cursed thing, if we right click on some of the items, a short video will be shown. And sometimes they are very bizarre. When the room is lit, we can see a dragon guarding the sword. The dragon is Zmei Gorыныch, a very famous character from Russian folk tales. Most often he is depicted with three heads, but there can be more. We need to get this sword. Here it is. We use a saw to cut the chain holding it. We must strike at the dragon's heart with it. One of the heads will fall in the basket, and the chest will rise and uncover the door. And inside there is an egg, and inside the egg there is a key. Our main character ventures forth into some dark forest where he finds a house. The doors just opened for him by themselves, and it's said that he enters Palаты Белокаменные, white stone chambers, but the room we find ourselves in is wooden. Okay? Here we must cook an egg porridge. It's also a very famous folklore plot. The European version is called the stone soup. Here we pixel hunt, transform the items with the magic mirror, watch bizarre videos, and as soon as we find all the items, some man appears. He tells us to make the porridge and explains how to do it. We do everything accordingly, eat the porridge, get a pester, which is a backpack made of fiber, and go further. The next location is the mill. The game tells us some story about the miller being in contact with evil spirits or something. For example, he starts the wind by some magic manipulations, and his evil magic crushed my game. After restarting, the miller himself appears and threatens us and explains that he has something on a rope, and if we do something bad with it, the wind will come. This thing is Vitradui. I didn't find anything about such entity in any folk tales. It just blows, and its blowing deals damage. At first, I thought we could use any of the weapons we have by now, but it turned out we need to catch the wind into the pester. Vitradoid deflates. Then we need to use the wind we caught on the mill. Using the magic mirror, we get the bag, but it's torn. We find the needle in the haystack, and also we need a thread. And here, just a second. I need to. Yeah, finally. We must pay for the flour, and we have money, but I stuck here because I just didn't understand where to put it, and the guide says nothing about it. It turned out the money were to be placed near the bag, and it wasn't very easy because it seems there is only one pixel where it works. Our next acquaintance is Baba Yaga. The guide says that he knows her for a long time and there is no need to fear her. And to get to her house, we need to feed the gates. What's needed to do is to make a huge honey cookie. In the guide, it's also said to cut the cookie with an axe, but I didn't do it in my walkthrough and everything worked out, so why? Baba Yaga appears again and asks to help her to drown some girl. She also gives some hints about the dragon's kingdom, that everything is upside down there, good is bad, dead is alive, and so on. And here we finally learn at least something about what we are searching for. It's made of diamond and it has two fake glass copies. Now we are at Baba Yaga's yard. At first, as always, I used the magic mirror, find a raven, and died instantly. Okay? And the guy just says the following. You don't say? Here the game starts trolling you. But it's just the beginning. The skull turns into a frog, which is the girl we need to drown for some reason. She escapes under the house, so we create a magic wreath and pixel hunt the letters on the stones. It's painful. It's very, very painful. A phrase "живая вода", the living water, is combined from the letters. The living water makes the house stand up. And of course, we die the moment we touch it. Oh my god. And everything must be done again, from scratch. To avoid getting killed by a house, we need to grow the mushroom. We put the frog into a barrel with the living water and go further. The dragon himself appears. He just threatens our main character and goes to his castle. And this is my favorite place in all the game. If we touch the tree, we die. There is no other option. Even if you click on it accidentally while feverishly trying to pixel hunt, your only way is to unalive yourself. What the hell? We need to unstone the fly to distract the spider, and that was the simple part. According to the guide, we need to burn the web. Okay, simple. Simple, isn't it? No matter where you click with the flint, it won't work. In reality, here is what we must do. We use a wreath to find more web, and then we can burn it. I spent half an hour on this. Wow, Russian owl, how did you guess what must be done? You'll ask. And I'll answer honestly that I didn't. I found the only walkthrough of this game on YouTube and looked it up there. Thank this channel very much. The frog just jumps over the river, and we must cut the tree and use it as a bridge. And the dragon is inside the castle. Everything just kills us again if we touch anything. So here, using the wreath, we'll reveal the dragon, though earlier in the game to reveal stuff we needed to use the magic mirror. The situation is I can't. We have a sword, an axe, and a dagger. And each one of these is used in different situations, though all of them are weapons. And we took a quest to get a sword, so why not use it here in the clanks? Ah! With X, we get rid of the dragon's tail. The tail is used on the rake, and the black heart appears. We hurt it with the dagger. It turns into an egg, which we burn with water because everything is the other way round in the dragon's kingdom. There's a needle inside, which is an attribute of a completely different character from the fairy tales, but who cares? We cut the needle with a dagger, use coins on the medals which appeared, and finally kill the dragon with the sword and burn the body. Oh, hello, you piece of shit! Finally. The goal of our journey. The go I know not whither and fetch I know no what is before our eyes. The glass ones crack if we touch them with a ring. We take the real diamond booty and return home through the magic door. The door will be opened by the one who will write the spell. where I the word spell. Hey mom, I fetched I know not what for you. Now you can heal and. Thank you, son. You helped me a lot, but I don't need the diamond bird. I was healed by the water from a faraway well. Yep, the mother is okay, and it seems our journey had no meaning at all, but in reality, our protagonist proved to be a real manly man and a true descendant of a ruling family. Hey, male fellows! Like if your mother sends you on a dangerous journey when she's ill, and upon returning, you learn that it was just to prove your maleness or something. I'm no man, never happened to me. I don't know how it works for you guys. Let me know in the comments. I I hated this game. No, I loved it to some extent. Otherwise, I wouldn't spend time doing a video about it. Probably. But it is bad. The plot is meaningless. The amount of text exposition is ridiculous. It's no Disco Elysium for it to be fun and interesting to read it. Even though the backgrounds are nice, the pixel hunting just kills you. The characters are here, but they're just tools to tell a story, not real characters. At least there's no problem with authenticity because the game is based on folk tales, sometimes very loosely, but it's still just fairy tales. That's it. I have nothing else to say. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you would like to learn about some more Russian point and click quests on the same topic. I have a couple of them up in my sleeve. You'll also find links to my long play of the game without commentary and the music from the game in the description.